Have you ever wondered if one of those, simple coding skills you pick up could actually pay the bills? Well, today we're going to break down exactly how connecting a little chatbot to a spreadsheet turned into a real paying gig. Let's dive in. So let's just start with this number, $200. What if I told you that's not the price tag for some super complex software? Nope, that's the value of a skill you can pretty much learn in an afternoon. It's just proof that your first freelance project doesn't have to be some massive app. It just has to solve a real problem. And here's where that number comes from. This quote from a developer, Fred Udelkard, just hits it perfectly. He said, "In about 2 or 3 hours of work, I got an order worth $200, enough for a month's rent." See, that's not just about code. That's real-world impact. That's a skill worth paying attention to. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really understanding the value of this $200 skill. Then we'll get clear on our goal, getting a bot and a spreadsheet to talk to each other. I'll introduce you to the key library that makes it all happen. We'll walk through the code, and then we'll bring it all home to see how that code turns right into cash. All right, let's get into it. The goal. So, what are we actually trying to build here? The magic isn't just about writing code. It's about taking a simple chatbot and making it 1,000 times more useful by giving it a brain that lives in an external spreadsheet. This slide shows the transformation perfectly. I mean, on the left, you've got your basic Echo bot. It's that classic beginner project that just spits back whatever you type. It's fine, but kind of useless, right? But on the right, that's our goal. A bot that can pull live, real-time info right out of a Google Sheet. That's the leap from a simple coding exercise to a valuable, sellable tool. Okay, so how do we build that bridge between our bot and our spreadsheet? Well, that's where our hero tool comes into play. This is the key that makes this whole thing surprisingly easy. So meet PySheet. It's a Python library. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a translator. Your Python code speaks one language, Google Sheets speaks another, and PySheet just sits right in the middle, letting them talk to each other perfectly. It lets your code read, write, and change data just like a person was sitting there typing into the cells. All right, we have our goal, we have our tool. Now for the fun part. Let's walk through the 4 main steps to actually write the code and bring this bot to life. It really all boils down to these 4 things. First, we got to get permission from Google. Then we point our code to the exact file we want to read. After that, we grab the information we need. And finally, we wrap it all up in a command so a user can actually ask the bot for it. Step 1 is all about security. I mean, you can't just let any program start reading your private Google Sheets, right? So first, you have to go into the Google Cloud Platform, turn on the Google Sheets API, and download a special little key file. It's usually called client_secret.json. The PySheets.authorize function uses that file to securely log into Google for you, creating a trusted connection. So once you're authorized, you need to tell your code exactly where to look. Every single Google Sheet has a unique key right there in its URL. You just use gc.open_by_key to grab the whole spreadsheet file, and then you can add .worksheet_by_title to zoom right in on the specific tab or worksheet that has the data you need. And now for the main event, actually grabbing the data. The .get_call command is super straightforward. It just gets a column. We pass it the number 1 to tell it we want everything from the very first column. And that little extra bit at the end, include trailing empty equals false, that's just a handy cleanup tool. It makes sure we don't accidentally grab a bunch of empty blank cells from the bottom of the sheet. This is the last and most important piece of the puzzle. We don't want this code to run just once, right? We need it to run on demand whenever a user actually asks for the info. So to do that, we wrap all our logic inside what's called a command handler. You can just think of it as a listener. When the bot hears a message that starts with scores, it kicks off our whole process. It authorizes, opens the sheet, fetches the latest data, and sends it back to the user as a brand new reply. And that's basically it for the code. With just those 4 steps, the connection is totally built. So now, let's see the final result and tie this whole thing back to that $200 project. And here's the final product. A client can go and update scores or product inventory or whatever they want in a simple Google Sheet that they already know how to use. And the end user? They get those updates instantly through the bot. It's simple, it's elegant, and most importantly, it solves a real problem for a business owner. So let's just break this whole success story down. What was the skill? Just reading a Google Sheet with Python. The tool? A free open source library anyone can download. The time it took? A couple of hours. And the reward for that was real. $200 for solving somebody's problem. It's just a perfect example of a high-value, low-effort project. So this brings us to a really powerful question. You've just seen the blueprint. What could you do with it? Maybe you could build a bot that checks crypto prices from a sheet, or one that dishes out daily motivational quotes, or maybe one that tracks stats for your fantasy league. The possibilities are pretty much endless once you have this one fundamental skill down. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. It is so easy to think you need to master these huge, complex systems to be a real developer. But sometimes the most valuable thing you can do is just solve one specific problem really, really well. A skill like this isn't just a technical exercise. It's a key that can unlock real opportunities and prove that you can turn your code directly into cash.